Hi, and welcome to another quick sort of box review of the new, well, old but new vintage classic Airfix Fokker DR.1 and Bristol F.2B. Fantastic box art, brings back memories. I do vaguely remember this kit way back in the day. The original date actually on this kit, or these kits, is actually 1957, which I'm not that old, but obviously this has been reboxed quite a number of times. It's a little bit vague when I looked on Scalemates, because you can look up both the individual aircraft and the actual sort of dogfight double, and the dates seem to be, I think this was first came out in '63 as a dogfight double or thereabouts. It looks like it was re-released then around '74, '75 again, and then back in 2001 there looks like there was actually a boxing, slightly different boxing in the fact that it came with paints along the bottom, and obviously it was more like a starter kit rather than just a dogfight double kit. But I think this one they pretty much traditionally done as per the original, as far as I can tell, looking around. Obviously you get the two kits there. It gives you a call out of the different paints required, one flying hour, which is nice. We've got bits around the side, just the same picture on the front, bit of information. Warnings. We've got cartograph decals, which is obviously always good in these new sort of re-release vintage classic kits. Let's get the top open and get straight in. Nice thing, first of all, we actually do get the stands, which is really good. Obviously, like the original stands that you probably would have got with the kits when it was originally released, or something similar to that, I'd imagine. We then get one plastic bag with one plane in it, one plastic bag with the other, and we get our instructions. So let's just quickly look at the instructions, see what they've done here. A little decal sheet as well. Put that to one side for a moment. So the usual bits and pieces on the front here. You've got a little bit about the actual aircraft themselves. It's obviously the new style, although this is the new style of Airfix. I suspect the actual diagrams inside are the same as they were originally. Obviously, I don't have an original box set to compare, but it has this kind of more traditional old style Airfix breakdown of the build. So as we can see, you start off with the Bristol F.2B fighter. Pretty much within moments you've got it, the figures in there, and it all closed up. There's really relatively little to it. The underwing going on, then you've got the top, and obviously these bits are going to be interesting. Then we got the wheels, and that I think is pretty much probably it. Yes, then we come into a colour call out, single colour option there, but it's a nice colour option. And then we go into the Fokker. Again, it's not going to take much. I suspect it's about 3 sections to build this. It does give you a nice indication here of the sort of degree you need to get the wing slant, for want of a better word, correct. You do get figures, obviously, which is nice, but there's really zero cockpit detail. Or actually, 4 sections, in fact. So you've got the wings going on, then obviously you've got the propeller and this horizontal stabilizers in the wheels. And again, we've got this sort of nice Red Baron variant there in red, which is nice. Always good to have those nice proper colour callouts. I will have a quick look at the decal sheets, so we've got that to hand. Again, you can see there, it's cartograph. They're fantastic looking decals. You're not going to have any problems with those, I don't think. There's even a few little stencil type bits on here. So that all looks pretty good. Put that in there. We'll start with package 1 here. I think this is the Fokker. tiny little planes. So what have we got here? Hopefully you can see that okay. So considering the age of the mould, there's not a lot of flash really, considering, you know, I've seen modern kits with almost as much flash. Some horrible injection pin marks here though, that are going to be a bit of a nightmare, but all the wings have got those. Obviously they're on the underside of the, well, no, I suspect that one isn't. They're going to need some clean up as best you can. Going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll see what we can do. You got a pilot figure. Yeah, it looks like much the same as the standard Airfix pilot that goes into pretty much every World War II aircraft. Certainly back in the day. Engine's fairly rudimentary there. The small parts are okay. Again, for the scale and the age. Hopefully the two parts will fit together. There's a couple of, I don't know how if you can see, there's a couple of kind of what looks like rivets around by the tail here, but pretty much the rest of the airframe is completely devoid of anything really, any detail or anything at all. But it's a small plane, and it's probably just, it's going to be a fun little build, I think. So that's that one. Again, we've got these awful injection pin marks here. Again, this one is on the underside. I think you just have to do the best you can to clean those up without destroying this sort of ribbon effect. Again, the tail's got one, but that I think will go against the body, the fuselage, so you won't see that bit. But again, there's no flash. They've cleaned up the moulds quite nicely. Now let's look at the Bristol. Let's just open this packet up here. Slightly bigger plane, with slightly more parts by the looks of things. Carefully take that out, make sure there's no loose bits. So, the airframe. Yes, in fact it says on there 1957. This one's a little better. As you can probably see, you've kind of got this stitching here, which is quite effective. You've got the exhausts for the engine. It's a little more detailed. It is all raised. There's kind of panel lines, but it's raised again. But the detail's actually not too bad. Again, for a kid of that age, there's some gnarly bits here that are going to need to be cleaned up. But again, no flash. You're going to have to clean up some of these injection mould areas. Yeah, we've even got the part numbers actually marked on the fuselage halves themselves. In fact, there's no part numbers on the actual sprue. Quick look at them. These look interesting. How well you can see that, but I actually think they should be a bit straighter. Might be wrong. Maybe it's supposed to have that sort of warped effect. Again, we got these horrible injection pins all the way down here. They're not massively deep though, so maybe a clean up or a bit of a fill, you should be able to get rid of those. Again, the detail on top's not bad for the age of the kit. And again, on this one, you've got these injection pin marks here and here. It's okay. It's actually a nice plastic. It's not a softer plastic, it's got a more rigid plastic. Propeller looks pretty good. There's a horrible knobbly bit on there. I don't know what that is, but again, you should be able to clean that without too much problems. All the small parts are pretty good. Again, relatively flash free for the age. It's not bad. Details okay. Interestingly, the pilots are pretty good. I'd say they look a bit more. They're legless, but they look a bit more First World War than the sort of the stock pilot that you normally get in an Airfix kit. But it's all pretty good, really, for its age. Yeah, nice. So I'm actually quite looking forward to that. It's going to be, I mean, you know, it's never going to be the best model in the world, but I think it'll be a fun change of pace to perhaps what I usually build. So that's good. Obviously, there's no clear parts to worry about in these, so you've got nothing like that. But I think all in all, you know, it's not a bad little re-release from Airfix. Yeah, I look forward to building that at some point. Thanks for watching. Hi, and welcome to another inbox review. This time we're looking at the Hobby Boss A1B trainer. Nice bit of box art there depicting the kit. We've got two variants around the side here. Bit of information on the actual aircraft itself. Copyright here of 2017. I think the original base mold came out a year before, so it's a relatively new tooling. We've just got a bit of information, so I can't get that anywhere out. But the kit number is 81744. Gives us a bit of we've got two decal sheets, we've got a bit of photo etch, and obviously the relevant all the different ordnance that can be attached. And then at the side here it's just the same as the other. Nice typical Hobby Boss sturdy box, which is quite good. So we'll start with the instructions briefly before we get really stuck into the kit parts. We get the usual Hobby Boss leaflet, obviously for the actual kit we're reviewing, and some other bits that are coming out around that sort of time, I guess. So that's quite nice. We get the colour call out for two variants. I think these are both Brazilian aircraft, I believe. I'm not an expert on this particular aircraft, other than I believe it's a train that was developed between the Italians and the Brazilians, but they don't look like Italian markings, so I'm guessing they're both Brazilian options. But we've got a nice camo version and a sort of sort of grey option there. But it's always nice to have a proper colour call out, which is good. Standard Hobby Boss type instructions. Please read before operation, and hints and tips, and obviously you've got the sort of symbols there, methods to apply your decals. Sprue call out, which is always nice. It looks like we've got rubber tyres, bit of photo etch, and some decal sheets. I'd imagine one is probably for the main aircraft and stencils, and the other one is probably for the bombs, missiles, etc. Twin tub, so we've got obviously the seats, quite a busy section one there, getting the cockpit together. Looks quite detailed though, nice looking seats, and we've obviously got the metal lap belts, etc. there, so that's good. We've then got the wheelbase going together and the wheels going in at this stage. Hopefully these wheels can be put in afterwards, because it's always a bit of a nightmare trying to paint and clean up the model before painting if you've got wheels sticking out, because if you're like me, you'll knock them off at some point. But hopefully they can be put in after. Then we've got the main fuselage going together, canopy going on, wings. Don't think this is going to be a complicated build. Looks like it'll be done fairly quickly. We've then got the stabilisers, the tail fin here, and the sort of intakes going on. We've got a little boarding ladder, which is quite nice. I assume, I don't know if that's plastic or etch. Let's have a look, shall we, quickly. Yeah, so PE is actually called PE, so no, that would be plastic. We've then got various lumps and bumps, refueling probe going on there, and then obviously the pylons for the weapons. And then finally weapons call out with your different weapon options. It's probably a fairly quick build. Let's have a look at the plastic. So we've got one big bag here. This is the main fuselage halves. Oh, I didn't cut that very well, did I? Actually quite, for what I was assuming to be a fairly small trainer, it's quite a fat, chunky looking body there. Typical of modern hobby boss. We've got some really nice recessed panel lines here. A few raised lumps and bumps, which is nice. Nice plastic. No flash. All looks good. A cockpit tub. Quite nicely detailed on the side walls there. Or the instrument sides. Then we've got our instrument panel again. Quite nicely detailed. All parts look to be really nice. You can get that in the camera there. You can see that detail. Don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. We've then actually got quite a lot of little bags in here. I will start with the main bits again, actually, before we... So again, we've got the wings here. Again, these all look pretty good. You've got some fine recessed detail. No, doesn't appear to be any injection pin marks that shouldn't be in the wrong place or anything. No flash. Nice. You obviously, yeah, so you've got these sort of slats at the front. I guess they can probably be posed. I didn't notice in the instructions. I should have done. Been posed open or closed. Air brakes. Oh, it's pretty good. We've got a whole load of small parts. So, another instrument panel there. Various bits and pieces for the engine exhaust. I think these are probably the gear bay, the gears for the landing gear. Horizontal stabilizers. Again, it's all very clean. Nice crisp detail. Looks nice. Hopefully you can see all that there. Another box, another bag, sorry, of little bits and bobs. Let's see what we've got in this one. Landing gear, refueling probe, intakes, one piece, so that should be nice. Again, it's all crisp, clean. Nothing unpleasant there, I don't think. That's your ladder. Yep, that all looks good. Then we've got here, let me just get rid of some of these bits. Looks like two screws exactly the same. So I'm going to leave that one in the bag and put that over there. You want your injector seat, kind of one piece. Hopefully you can see that. It's quite detailed, reasonably detailed. And some bits and bobs there for the missiles and fuel tanks. Again, some nice detailing in here. Nice clean parts. All looks good. Actually rocking through these parts quicker than I thought. There we go. And that's a last one here, which again is just a double. Two screws the same. And we've got some bombs and missiles here. Again, there's really nothing wrong with that. Can't really complain. It's got the recessed panel lines where you'd want them to be. I think it all looks pretty good. Then we've, in the box we've kind of got this little package here. Oh, a little. I won't get. Actually, I might. We will get this out and have a quick look at the photo etch. We'll try if we can get it open without causing a real nightmare. Oh, in fact, there's two sheets. I guess one for each ejector seats. You've got the different harnesses, various bits and pieces there. Fairly typical Hobby Boss. A bit thicker than your average photo etch, compared to Edward, but on the whole, not bad. Nice to have. Let's pop that in there. Back in the box. Yeah, rubber wheels. I'm not going to get them out. I'll end up losing them, or losing one of them, but they're okay. I know some people don't like rubber wheels. They're not, they're quite small. There's not much to them. There's no horrible seam line down them by the looks of things, so I don't mind them too much. This, I'm hoping, is the canopy, because we haven't had that yet. Looks like it is. Nicely packaged as always by Hobby Boss. Open it up, and again, as we've come to expect with Hobby Boss, absolutely crystal clear, really, really nice. Now, there is a line that goes right down the middle here. Now, whether that's supposed to be there, because it's really, really pronounced compared to the usual seam line, so maybe it is in fact actually supposed to be there. I have to do a bit of research before I build that. If not, unfortunately, you've got a bit of a task to take that out and clean it up, which is a bit of a shame, especially considering how lovely clear the glass is at the moment. This one's, it's a bit, I don't know, that rear one's a little distorted. Sorry, front, that would be the front, won't it? But on the whole, they're really, really nice. I'll just pop this back in here so I don't damage it. In fact, I will put that over there and I'll do that in a minute rather than keep you waiting. Let's have a quick look here on the decals and see what we've got. Not a massive decal sheet, but nicely protected. Okay, hopefully you can see that. They look nice. We've got some nice detail there. I think these are supposed to be the instrument side consoles. And we've got the instrument panel decals here. They're not the best. I think if you're doing a closed cockpit, you might get away with using those. Obviously, there's lots of raised detail on the actual parts, so you could paint them yourself if you're that way inclined. I don't know whether there's a photo etch available for this. It's a fairly unusual aircraft, so it's possible that there isn't anything out there. The nice thing about this one, I'd say, compared to some Hobby Bosses decals I've seen, the red's pretty good. I sometimes find the reds are not quite as red as they perhaps should be. Can almost be a little pinky, but that's actually pretty good. I'll have a quick look at the other one in here as well. Yeah, as I suspected, these are going to be for all the various bombs and missiles that are available. Dry. But again, that looks pretty good. I mean, generally, I don't find Hobby Boss decals too much of an issue, so I'm sure that will be fine. Well, that's pretty much it. That looks like a nice little kit, actually. So thank you for watching. Hopefully that was of some use. Cheers.